All right, we will start off this meeting. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Berlin Select Board meeting. Today is Monday, November 22nd, 2021. We continue to meet virtually in light of our COVID-19 pandemic. All right, so let's see, call to order. I have 7 o'clock on the dot. Yay. All right, so announcements, meetings of the Berlin Select Board are generally recorded for transmission on both the Berlin Cable Television Access Channel and YouTube. Your voice, image, and or phone number may be recorded. All righty, first up is our approval of minute.
Up to a good start here.
Can only go up from here. You notice I set the bar low for everybody. I make the both of you, all three of you, look good because I'm like down here. So there you go. All right, let's try this again. First up is the approval of minutes from our November 15th session, open session.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second.
All right, any comments, questions?
Nope.
Hearing none. All right, Stone Eye.
Hawkins, aye.
Keith, aye.
There you go. Yay. All right, correspondence. Margaret, did you lighten your hair? I like it.
I'm glad you like it. And yes, that was inadvertent, but
once again, here goes
I guess
the
I
meeting.
don't like it as
and
much as you. So it's
that's right.
going, it's
Here's the
going.
meeting, and here goes Peg. Peg
Okay.
just brings the meeting down.
Get
There you
off
go.
topic.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I don't think that was on the agenda.
It was on the agenda. Hey, you know, it's kind of like a job, it's like a job responsibility, other duties and topics as required. All right, so. Oh God, can you imagine if we met
2
in
weeks
person?
from now, I'll look totally different. So
Hey, you know what? I clip and dip mine. You know what? The part's starting to come back. That that means I got to do something with it. All right. So correspondence, Margaret. Do we have any in the bucket?
yes. What we have for correspondence tonight is actually correspondence that the board received from UPEG on Saturday regarding nonprofit use of the 1870s, specifically the holidays in Berlin, and the Lions Club use of the building for the gingerbread contest. So
I followed up that I had someone different approached me about the same topic on Sunday.
Okay. So
I think you've all had communications with folks about this.
Yeah.
So
Sandra's
here, and I would love to introduce Sandra to the board and the public. So Sandra, I hope you're okay with being promoted. Sandra is doing an excellent job. It's not quite easy getting a facility back up and running and
and Saturday's event, whatever day it was this past weekend.
The craft fair.
Was actually the craft fair was stunning. I really enjoyed it. I spent way too much money, which is the goal of those things, I think.
Absolutely.
Okay, is Sandra coming?
I'm here, but I'm on the laptop. I don't know how to use this one. Still learning with this laptop. I don't know how to turn on the video, so.
Okay, so down in the bottom left corner of your screen, she's using the town laptop. So bottom left corner of your screen, you'll see a line through the video. Unclick, well, just click that.
Oh, I got it.
Oh,
Here you are.
There we go.
Yay!
Welcome, Sandra.
Welcome
Thank you.
aboard. Welcome
Thank
to
you.
Welcome to the madness known as the Select Board.
Good to see you, Sandra.
Thank you.
All right.
So very pleased to introduce Sandra to the board and everyone else.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Thank you.
welcome. It's so excited that building could actually start getting back online and used a lot more again.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
I was
Right, so-
hoping that the 200 voicemails that I answered in my first week there would be regarding the 1870, but it was mostly people looking for the town hall, the town offices.
This is very common mistake. That's why we've kind of informally changed the name to the 1870 Town
1870.
Function Hall.
Mhm.
So I did change the outgoing message that when people call in, they don't leave a message asking about their taxes or houses for sale or trash or anything like that. I left the message for town offices so that they could call the town offices with those questions.
Nice.
Sorry to continue us down a strange rabbit hole. The 1870 town hall phones are not on the same phone system as the main building?
So we're
Because they're
still trying
internet-based
to,
phones.
so I don't believe so. So we're still trying to investigate that a little bit. We believe that Charter came in and actually did all the work in the 1870, and Charter is going to need to come back and actually do some work to upgrade the phone system because it's not working. And it's, it's
I thought you had
old. I don't know if
TPX
the
for your
lines
phone.
are older.
I thought TPX was the phone system. Anyway, Margaret, you and I can talk offline about it. Just internet-based phone system is something I do professionally for my office place. And so I probably could give some insights.
That would
Well,
be
you know,
good.
if you could help diagnose this problem, I'd be
Yep.
greatly appreciative.
Everybody that leaves a message sounds like they're in a tunnel and you can't understand
Oh,
them.
God.
Very spotty in and out. So
We'll hang Scott out from the second floor window, try and fix the phone message. So,
I think you get a string and a tin can going from 1870 town hall to town offices.
we can do that. We can do that. All right. So Margaret, do we want to kind of go over, or, I can start with what started it, and then Scott can chime in, and then we can figure out next steps.
Yeah, go right ahead, Peg. That's fine. Sounds good.
So going to the dump on Saturday, transfer station, dump for us old folks in town, approached by one of the members of the Lions Club asking for confirmation on whether a donation was needed or not. So I said that I would look into it. I would bring it up to the board. I wasn't sure. Obviously, I don't drive around with the policies in my back pocket for that. So sent a note out to you guys just to say, hey, questions came up. Can we talk about this on Monday? And then Mr. Hawkins chimed in.
Yeah, I also was again approached about the idea, and thank you, Margaret, for sending out the formal policies to us to look it over. It is, the policies don't contemplate sort of things in the town we might want to have happen and be willing to forego the fees because it adds more value ongoing to the building or for sort of any other reasons. And so I see where the people got the answer you have to pay the fee came from, because that's what the policy sort of says. And so hoping we get a chance in a timely manner to discuss what we want to select board. I mean, it's the policies were greatly revised during sort of, I think, the COVID time period. And so now with they're being exercised, I think we sometimes find some of the weaknesses. And I'm glad we have the policies. I'd rather roll out half or 90% right policies than spend another 2 years trying to make them perfect and not have anything for a bit. So I have opinions, but I don't feel a need I have to share them at the moment. I don't think we're that far apart.
Yeah, I mean, so Margaret, should we put this on the agenda for next week to talk about any possible changes and bring Sandra on back? Because where else would you rather be at 7 o'clock on a Monday evening?
Yeah, I've added it.
Oh, look at you, Miss Thing. Okay.
Oh, I've
Right.
added it under old business. So,
Okay.
and
And
I
then-
would ask the board to take another look at page 3 of the building use guide and fees. It does hint at the board being allowed to change fees as they deem necessary. So it's something that you can discuss next week, and that is prior to holidays in Berlin. And so this can all be worked out before holidays in Berlin.
And I believe that the holidays in Berlin have actually turned over a check for the hall rental. Is there any way we could just make sure that doesn't get deposited until we actually figure out what we're going to do?
No, I think they're holding off on that. So, yeah.
I
So
think you might
believe
find
they
it.
have-
You might find it in the
Yeah,
green box out front.
Oh.
I got a text this morning that someone was dropping one off.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it might
okay.
be somewhere in the town offices.
We'll just hold it. We'll hold the check or ask Dennis to hold it in his office. and
Yeah,
the
I
safe
haven't done
until-
anything with it. So if it's anywhere, it's in my box and I'll be sure to hold on to it.
So can I just add that because this was not on the agenda as an item for the audience, that's why we're putting off talking more about this issue, and that you know, we as select board members do have the ability to relook at what we voted as policy and possibly
Revise.
change, revise, or whatnot. Just so that people understand, because I know that there may be one or two other people in the audience for this reason.
Yeah, the state law says that anything we discuss has to be on the agenda, a
Yep.
couple days ahead of time, and this happened over the weekend. So we can at least
We
say
have
we're
a
going to put it on
reason.
the agenda.
Right.
Well,
And I think individually we can share, the select board can share our opinions with Margaret so she has a sense of like how close or far apart we are, but we're not allowed to discuss it with
Correct.
each other or even discuss it even this is public forum right now.
well,
Mhm.
particularly if we're going to take a vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
no vote.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
No vote.
That's why I brought this up under correspondence. I thought it could just have it, we could have a general
Yep.
discussion about it, and I've added
Yep.
it to next week's agenda, so we should be good.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, and I mean, and Sandra, definitely take a look through, and if there's anything in any of the chats that you've had with folks, you know, so far, let us know. I mean, you and Margaret are probably the closer ones when it comes to, you know, renting out or talking to folks. You know, Scott and I and Chris might be a little bit more, you know, moved away from the actual, you know, day-to-day items. So greatly appreciate your input. You know, that's why you're here, and that's why we're going to lean on you. So.
And that could be at any time. It doesn't even
Correct.
need to be just next week. It could be any time.
Yep. Hey, so while we have Sandra, where are the decorations for the town hall? Does anybody know? Weren't there like lights and from?
I
Is it
have not
Holly?
had a chance to look through the building much yet.
Well,
I
let us
found my
know when you.
office,
There
and
you
a
go.
computer that works really slow, and a phone that doesn't really work, but
Okay.
I'll work on finding the rest of the stuff.
Excellent. Well, you know.
She was
we-
in an office that
sorry.
wasn't even heated for a little bit, so.
Oh,
We're so
Sandra-
sorry, Sandra.
It was a little cold, but I made it through.
all right.
Oh my
You know what?
God.
When you go on a mission to find stuff at the town hall, leave breadcrumbs, or at least let someone know that you're on a mission. So if no one hears from you in a couple hours, you know, Scott and I and Chris can run down and try and find you.
Thanks.
Yeah, but I
I
know
will
that-
not be venturing to the basement, so if it's down there, I'm
Oh,
not gonna.
scary basement.
Not
I
my
know.
cup of tea.
That's all right. We'll send Scott down. But no, I know that there a couple years ago there were. Didn't they buy lights?
Yes,
solar
they
lights?
did. They
and
bought some decorations, yes. So,
Yeah,
and they're
let's
there, they're around somewhere.
Somewhere.
So,
They're with the
Right.
tables. They're with the tables that disappeared for the. For the
I think we found all
Fair.
the tables, didn't we?
I
Did we
think
find
so.
all the tables?
I think
Yeah.
they found all the tables, but they needed two more because, they needed two more because they had reservations for additional tables over the
Right.
weekend, so, or before the weekend.
We will get all this straightened out. And honestly, Sandra, anything that you need, you know, reach out to Margaret, reach out to us, get on an agenda. We are more than thrilled to have you. You know, thank you for stepping up and doing this. You know, it,
Thank you.
you know, just means a lot for us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm just asking everybody to be patient with me while I'm still trying to learn it all.
That's good.
Not a
At least you don't come jumping in with like 75 events already lined up and promises made to people you have no idea what they are.
Look at her. She's like,
I
yeah,
am-
I'm on the agenda next week. Just wait.
And I'm happy that like, as we fill these positions, that's one less thing that Margaret is
Yes.
divided among doing too. We get to have someone who's focused on getting that hall and doing some improvements,
Yeah, And as I
improvements
said-
from a marketing and renting standpoint. Yep.
yeah. Sandra's
Cool.
already done a great job. She's doing very well at this, so I'm happy.
Excellent. Yay.
I think if someone leaves a voicemail saying they have a question about taxes, she calls them back saying, you know, maybe you want to rent the hall for a little bit.
Why don't you come on in? We'll have a chat. Bring 20 of your friends. Not a problem. Okay. No, awesome. So then we'll pop you on a time next week, Sandra, to come on back and,
Okay.
you know, talk about this. The four of us will chat about it, see what we can do. You know, definitely put you in a good position so that you're not running around getting, you know, well, this one said, well, this one said, but no, this one said, well, the document actually says. So we'll get all that quagmire cleared up for you.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Cool. Well,
Oh,
welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Well,
See you next week.
You betcha. Have a great night.
You
you'll be a
too.
regular.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put you back in the audience, Sandra.
Oh,
I maybe if I do something here. I'm still not used, I'm so used to my Mac, I'm not used to it. I can stop video. So we'll
Okay,
see.
all right.
Okay,
Take care,
all
thank
right,
you.
bye.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
God, all righty, so we're a wee bit after 7:10, so if we want to bring Fire Chief Kenneth Clark on up to the big table,
The big screen.
the big screen, the big
Oh, he should
Lebowski.
be on his way. Let's see. Okay, promote to panelist. Why is it not allowing me to promote him to panelist?
And you all thought it was me that was dragging the
Oh, he's
meeting
coming,
down.
he's coming. Okay, maybe I promoted him 5 times. I don't know. I kept on pushing the button.
Ah, you see his name? There he is. You're
He's in
still
the
on
red
mute
room.
there. Yep. You're on mute there. Mr. Clark, there he
Good
is.
evening, everybody.
Hey,
Good
Chief.
evening.
Well, he looks like Christmas.
He
Green and
does.
red.
That's camo. Christmas camo.
Christmas camo. Well, we're happy to see you. Happy that all was well last week, you and the team. So, thank you for taking care of the residents of Berlin. So we very much appreciate you and what your team does for us.
Team had a good test last week. It's very unusual at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to pull in to the conditions that we had there, but we did a little transition outside and then they moved inside, which is near and dear to my heart. That's how you deal with those things. And they did really well, but we fell victim to the lack of a solid water supply and until we got the establishment of a permanent water supply with mutual aid tenders when they got there. So everything went good. Your new tender worked awesome. So you should be very proud of that new tank truck they got. So it's like, I was very happy with that. We get great support from the blue team and from all of our mutual aid partners. And I think we had all of our immediately surrounding, and then we went out to Boxborough, Stowe, and Harvard for water tenders. So it's like just to get a rotation. They used a Hudson hydrant to fill it right by the hotel there out on 62. And they just truck it in and feed the system and then empty and go get another load. That simple, not rocket scientist stuff. So it's like, that's the first time that I've been involved. I'm used to having hydrants every 500 feet, that supply at a large fire and they call it a roll hitch. And first time I knew what I had to do as soon as I saw where the fire was. And it was like interesting to see it build up and then supply the water once it was established. It just takes there's a time window where you got to judiciously use the water you have to protect the people and then go to town, go out change your tactics a little bit when it gets established. But nope, it went good. Like always, you feel bad for the family that lives there. My heart and soul goes out to them. They lost a lot. We were able to recover some stuff for them that was in the building, but it was a really serious fire. It's still under investigation by the Fire Investigation Unit from the Mass State Police, and we haven't got any formal reports back. So it's like, yeah, I think by the time we were all cleaned up, it was 10 o'clock that night from 3 in the afternoon. So it's like,
Wow.
we had a
Long
couple of
day.
hot spots first thing Tuesday morning. Then someone noticed when they were finishing up the fire investigation Tuesday mid-morning, and they dealt with a few after that. But it was just, the roof was kind of collapsed and it kind of rolls in. So it gets in all those pockets up there and just smolders and just got to go and get it. And it's hard work and up high. And it's like, it is part of being a firefighter. So it's like, going to be tenacious and go at it. But nope, I was very happy with the system and your personnel performed perfectly. I couldn't ask for a bunch of people that like really, very, very happy with the way things turned out there from the hand that we were dealt with going in.
Good. I'm glad everybody came out safe. So again.
Yeah,
thank
no
you
injuries.
for
I
all
don't even
that
think we
you do.
had, yeah, I don't even think we had any, I'm not aware of any even minor ones or any of the occupants that was there. So it's like, that's always a huge plus, huge plus.
Mhm.
But I'll go through my normal activity report for you.
Mhm.
And then you can ask questions as we go through. We had a little bit down in numbers for last month, 1.8 calls per day. There was 18 fire-related responses, 26 EMS responses, 8 motor vehicle accidents, 1 public assistance, 2 assist the police, a vehicle fire, and then a couple of hazmat responses thrown in there to sprinkle around. The highway's been really busy with the hazmat. It's the time, I don't know what it is, like right in a row, like stuff on the highway. 1 truck lost an active in Bolton, but we share the response with Bolton between 62 and it's automatic. We don't have to think about it. Dispatch does it between 62 and 117 if it's northbound. If it's an accident, we send an engine in an ambulance and they send the ambulance. And if it's southbound, they send the engine and the ambulance and we just send the ambulance around. And this was a hazmat, lost a drivetrain, front drivetrain. And when it came apart, it was turning as it does underneath there and got both saddle tanks up front, punctured them. There was over 100 gallons on the ground out there. So it made a mess. And, but you put booms and pads and it's a normal thing you go through. So, it's just time consuming, DEP's involved and things. And they're really good partners to work with that. They got a lot of resources to call on. So, done it for years. And I think it was so common sometimes that on my old phone where I came from, I had them on speed dial DEP. So that's how often you deal with them. So, but that's where we are. There's still a note on here on the AFG grant that the equipment is starting to filter in for that grant that we got to switch out all the supply hose from 5-inch to 4-inch. So it's like it's moving, but it's just orders and waiting for it to arrive. I think I'll come in someday and there'll be 3 pallets of stuff on the floor. So that's the way it goes sometimes. The driving simulator is scheduled for February 7th and 8th. And it's funny that last Monday night was a regular training night. And the Mass Fire Academy was here with a maze trailer that you put on all your gear in the SCBA. They black out your mask and you got to make your way through the thing. And I think some of the mutual aid people who were covering from Boylston got to do it, but all our people were at the fire and we just packed up and went home. It is what it is. So, and then there's just like some total responses just to give you an idea of how where things are. And I think today that was total was at 10 November. I think today I was doing the incidents were up into the 470s. So it's like things are moving along. Fire prevention activity report is was attached, and Dave's been really busy. A lot going on. That Highland Wheeler Road or Wheeler Street up there has been pretty busy with inspections and a lot of stuff all around town. He's like Highland Commons East has had a lot of activity, and that's probably at first I thought that there was like every day him and I sit and go over the stuff that he's doing, and I think, oh, I got a good handle on that, but I read his report and kind of grab all that minutia out that he's got there that sits near and dear to me as an old fire prevention guy. So it's like he does a really good job of that, and I like where that department and that fire department function is. So it's like that we still have to work on our emergency management update and get that page 2 signed off, the promulgation statement, and move forward with that. But we just got notification of another EMPG grant, and it's like we're just finishing up spending the last one and then they got a new one out. So we haven't really identified how we want to do it, but it's emergency management related. So we're going to move in that direction. Probably some of it's going to be for the EOC and the cellar, trying to upgrade that with some technology. So it's like, it's moving, we're getting there. And another really important thing that's kind of like put a smile on my face is the fire marshal worked with, if you look at the town conservation land and private property responses, we had some issues of finding people or scenes at some of our prominent town-owned property and some of the private property that intersects at the streets. So he worked with, the fire marshal worked with the DPW director to come up with a sign program that on 24 roadside trail entry points to put up a sign that has the number on the street where it is on both sides. So if someone was there and needed to call 911, they could give them a street number where they were. So it's like, it will expedite getting the arrival of people there to help them. Or if they went off the trail there, they know that, oh, I went off at 215 Linden Street. I stepped off the road to go on this trail. Gives us a place to start. The nice green signs are mounted right on those access points. And that's worked out once already. We were able to meet up with some people quickly on one of the early signs. It's not complete yet, but some are done and they're getting done as we move every week. 4 or 5 or 6 get done. So we're moving with that. So it's like pretty sharp to see that. He was showing me the signs, and I've kind of been trying to do some of my, get back to my road orientation. So I know the side streets better, and I've noticed some of them in my travels. So it's like they stick out, and that's what you want, to jump at people so they see that. Another thing that we've been working really hard on is the EMS collections in the working group also. Let me do the collections first. In October, we were able to bill for 89,000 plus, and I think that number is higher than usual. I said simply because of our transition to a new in-house person of doing billing. We had to, there was an up to speed timetable period that was in there. So we had to teach someone to do it. We had to go in and grab all that data and send it to Coastal. So we were a little, we weren't as quite as prompt as we were up to that, but we're back to the promptness that was there in the past. So we're there, and we're moving forward. The credits were 27,000. You can see that there, 467.01. And then that next two is that's the FY22 numbers to date. So it's like we're billed for 214,000 and we've collected 84,000 plus. So that's where we are with the Coastal Medical and the billing process. And we got it back on track. Training it took a little while to train someone to do it, and we did it with somebody in-house. So it's like someone volunteered and they're doing a fantastic job with it. And then the other thing that's a write-off, and kudos for this, I get none of this. This all goes to June. Okay, she worked really hard with the First Financial in the old Comstar account, and I believe, and if I say it wrong, I hope she's listening and corrects me. But I believe this amount that we're requesting on the write-off, the 35,470.86, closes out finally all the old Comstar, and we're into the present now, working with First Financial on some older stuff, but everything that was able to be collected on or is past statute, that number is there. So we're up to date to a certain point. There's no more going back into the old stuff from 14, 13, 15 like that. We're up. So it's not, the ship's pointed north and we're just going to head north and keep going. Yeah, you know what I mean? But that's, June worked really hard with the Comstar in the First Financial group to get that done. And I thank her for that. That's like her forte and her strength. So it's like, thank you, June, if she's listening. So that's like 35. The request is for this month is that 35,470.86. If you would could make a motion to do that, that would be helpful. And then we're caught up. And like I said, we're moving forward from here.
So again, the amount is $35,470.86.
That's
Yes,
correct.
so I am fine making a motion to approve the write-off of $35,470.86 as in the report that has been submitted to the select board.
Second.
All right, lots of discussion, really. Chief Clerk, thank you. June, I know you're in the
Yes, thank
audience.
you.
Thank you. And anybody else that had hands on it, very much appreciate your diligence on this and getting us current. So with that, Stone Eye.
Hawkins, aye.
Keefe, aye.
There
Thank you, June.
Thank you,
Yeah,
June.
And I want to echo Chief's thanks to June. Not only has she cleaned this up, but she has been on First Financial, and we are actually receiving monies due to the activity at our collection agency. So we're doing well, like Chief said. Thank you, June.
It's moving.
And moving in the right direction, so yay.
That's right. Yeah, we're moving forward. We're not looking back over our shoulder anymore.
Good.
So it's like everything's in front of us. So that's always a good thing. And that's kind of like all I got. If you had any questions for me, and I know Peg always does, so I look forward to them. So it's like, no.
That's my job. That's why I get paid the
yeah,
big
yeah,
bucks. to ask
exactly.
questions. Mhm. Go ahead, stop, Chris.
I have a couple. Do you have anything, Chris?
No, I don't have anything right now.
Chief, does the town know or need to know or want to know where there are AEDs around town? Like we have a couple here in our neighborhood. Is that something we should be registering with you folks?
I'm not aware of a database to do that.
Okay.
It probably wouldn't be bad to have it, but it's like, I think as long as the people who are in that area know where they are,
Mhm.
I don't have a problem with it, because sometimes when you put all those together on a list, someone who might not be in a positive move knows where all those are. You could run into a problem with them, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But it's
Yep.
like, as long as all the people where you live and,
Mhm.
I know in the building here, it's well marked coming into the building. And it's like, as long as, like, I think there's also, trying to think of where there's one, I saw one out and the people know it's there. Yeah, sometimes I'll go there and they ask questions about it. So it's like, I know they know it's there, but it's like, I'm not aware of any required
Okay.
database, Scott, to have it, but it's
That's
like,
fine.
yeah, we could, I'll look at
Yeah.
that going forward. If something that bites at me, I'll get back in touch with you and
Totally
get
fine.
something going.
The ECEMP has been on the report a couple months stating it's waiting for us to sign off on it. Is Margaret or Chief Clark, is there an action that we need to take to approve it and then come down and sign it?
I think that yes, it just needs to be, it's in place and it's kind of like the formality of like that last T put on the end of something, you know what I mean? I on a something. So it's like, we just need to have that done. It's at the state. I have it. It's a working document as we speak. That's kind of like the culmination of all that work. So let me reach out to the TA and explain what we need to do. And then we can get the proper signatures on that. And
Okay, so so provided the ESEMP looks fine
Yep,
with the board, they could vote to sign it and we could have that done next week.
Right.
Okay.
I've scanned it a couple times. It is, it's a 90-page odd document.
yeah,
88,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it
Mhm.
definitely uses some words in there that I'm not 100% familiar with, but that it generally looks, but what I do follow is incredibly well thought out and detailed, and I can tell the amount of work that went into it. And so I'm just trying to help it get over the goalpost at this point.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been
And
on the
so-
tee for a little while. That's a good
Yep,
analogy, Scott.
yep.
It's been on the tee waiting to get kicked, but it's like, it's in play. So
Yep.
it's like, yeah, it's just the formality of completing it.
Right.
And I think that would make the state guy happy. So it's like,
Yep.
he likes
Have we
everything all his
have we
ducks lined
voted
up.
to approve this document yet?
I do not believe so, no.
Mm-mm,
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
mm-mm.
And
Well, I
all of-
scanned it also, but if
So
you're
if we could
okay
make
with
it
that,
a-
I'm okay.
a formal, well, I was wondering if we just make it a formal agenda item for next week. I know we could
Okay.
get away with the fact that it's been on his report a couple of times.
Mm.
And so we might have the 72 hours, but just to make sure there's no little thing that come back and bites us.
Yeah,
I don't think another week could make a big difference, but I'd like to make it, I'd like us to get us over that final line.
thank
So
you.
we'll put it under old business for next week.
Yep.
Okay.
Those are my questions.
Thank you, Scott.
So, Chief, following up on Scott's comment about the defibrillators, I know the coronavirus goes up and down depending upon what news station you listen to. Any plans, thoughts about rolling out type of first aid or CPR to the folks in town?
Nope. We're
Okay.
doing our in-house stuff now.
Nope.
It's always there. It's just like with what's going on with the COVID, it's like, when do you roll it out and bring people
I know.
together? You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's
I
like and I hate to have people at arm's length. I like to say, come on in, let's do this, get it done. But it's like, is it worth the effort yet? You know what I mean? We've been
Yeah.
so careful for so long. And I've had the conversations with Mike, who's kind of like one of our lead, Mike Wheeler, one of our lead CPR guys and first aid and all that, really, really good at it. And it's like, we're just like, not nervous about it at all. Just like, is it the time yet to bring it in? And
Mhm.
we've been so careful here. You got to bring him in your building, got to bring him into the training room. And we haven't had any incidents for a long time.
Mhm.
So it's like just so afraid to open up Pandora's box, so to speak, you know?
Well, we'll wait
Yep,
until
no,
it's,
it's right there.
we'll wait
It's-
until it's warmer and then we can all hang outside on the
Oh,
lawn. There you
yeah.
go.
Good, there you go.
Yeah.
No, that's
Uh,
like, that eats us, that eats me all the time when I read that. It's like, I'm
I
like,
know.
let's get it down, let's get it down. And it's like, sometimes even I have to be cautious, you know what I mean? It's like,
So is your team, is the red team fully staffed? There's no openings, whether, day shift, night shift, weekend shift, per diem shift? You
well,
at full
sometimes on the per
capacity?
diem shifts, we'll run, but it's rare now. Mostly is in the summer when you have the big holidays, like
Mhm.
a fourth, like you'll have one person, or we even had a night, or maybe two of them where we didn't have anybody signed up. But the fallback is the duty group, but there's like a time frame for the duty group to react from home to come in. So there's still someone there, and it's like but it's been really good. I don't think I've seen a short. We might have had one person when we're supposed to have two a week or so ago, but the duty group, what they do is they call the duty group and make them aware of it so that they can react quicker together and know that, oh, those two people aren't automatically there. But it's paid that, I'll tell you, in this whole system was put into place. I kind of got to fine tune it maybe a little bit. Your per diem program is like smoking awesome for the town. It's like
Good.
they really do a great job. It's cut way down on the response times. And it's like they've had some fantastic saves. They went out on a motor vehicle accident call, not this past weekend, but the one before. And they had a call just from the blue team, can you come and do an eval? They went and did an eval. Some of the things they were seeing didn't sit right with the crew. So they said, yep, we're going to do a transport. And they said, we should call ALS. And the guy was up walking around and didn't decode on the way to the hospital from the ambulance scene. So it's like the training and instincts kicked in. They made the right calls. They didn't like turf it to say, it's nothing, which can happen. And it's like, and the guy coded, they got him back and he went into the hospital talking to him. So it's like,
Wow.
it's a win, and it's just at the BLS level, but having those people right there to make the contact, they make good decisions, they're trained well, they're smart people. So it's like the kind that you hand out little awards among people for that, you know what I mean? So it's like for a save. So it's like, yep, yep, I couldn't feel better for those people. It's like put a smile on my face. And they were just chirping about it, and they were excited still, and it was a day later when they told me. So I said,
Keith, would you like to publicly give credit to your personnel, or you're going to do that?
Sometimes. Well, yeah, sometimes.
They
but
all
it's like,
deserve credit.
Yeah.
they do it one point or another, and where do you draw the line? Who gets it and who doesn't?
Yeah.
It's tough
Yep.
some days to make the call. I'm very, I drive mine hard. I don't do it a lot, but you'll see some coming up that will be made public.
Nice.
Yep, little awards, you know what I mean? So it's like, yep, it'll be nice, and it's like, somehow we'll share them with you. It's like, we'll do it in the building here.
Yeah, Chief, definitely let me know, because what I'll happy to do with your permission, of course, is to put it in my monthly write-up to the item, so
Okay.
folks,
Yeah,
throughout the town who may not watch us or come to us live can see it. So, you pass the folks on the street and it'll just be a nice little,
yeah.
hey,
Yep.
I know you. So yeah, definitely send it if you feel comfortable with it. Happy to put it in for you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for everything you guys do, Chief,
Absolutely.
and
Yep.
yourself.
No, the guys, it's what it's about. Peg, thank you.
Now, we appreciate you being here. You appreciate you being part of our team and leading such a strong one. So, thank you. If there's no
Thank
other
you.
questions, then we can let you go so you can go home and start cooking turkey for Ava. Just saying.
Yeah, there you go. She's coming Thursday.
We expect pictures. We expect
Oh
pictures
my
of her as
God,
like
yeah.
a little turkey dressed up for the holidays. So
I was actually sitting in the coffee shop that the main one in Hopkinton, and I felt a little brush in my leg Sunday morning. And it's like, hi, Pa. And they had come in for breakfast, completely not even knowing I was there. And she asked me to eat breakfast with Ava. So it's like, yep. I'll go and watch. I had already eaten, but it's like, she come out, I could feel a little brush on my right leg as she walked by, you know what I mean? And up, she wasn't sure it was me, I think at first, because Joe must have been saying, hey, that's Bob. So it's like, so no, those little things that just make all the stuff that I do, that makes it worthwhile. I love it. So, but thank you very much. And it's like,
Betcha.
you guys got to come in on Fridays too and see we have a little, sometimes on Fridays when there's no one around my house, I have a new, well, she's 4 months now, but it's a cream golden. And it's like, and I got a crate here and I put a crate in the office on the floor and off I go if there's calls and she stays in the crate and walks around the building with me. But when I go to brings the department business upstairs, she'll come up and visit Margaret and Mary
Oh,
and June and Amy. She visits, you know what I mean? And it's like,
so we have an
It makes
unofficial
my-
support dog.
yeah, all I
Oh,
need is
Thank
some
you.
black paint to
She's
put
a,
spots
she's
on.
a, we call her our therapy dog. She's
Yeah.
our therapy dog.
Very calm.
yeah. Chief, can we daughter? Can we bring in like paint or a little felt, you know?
That
and
black
make
spray
her,
paint.
absolutely. There you
Make a
go.
Dalmatian out of her. Thank you.
Awesome.
Good night.
Thank
Hey,
you,
everyone,
Chief.
if I don't see you, have a really nice Thanksgiving.
You
Yeah.
too. Stay safe.
Okay,
Thank
you
you
too.
again.
Good night.
All righty. Night, Chief.
I gotta step off camera for a second. I have a dog that is whining and barking by the door. Hold on.
Oh, and I saw Taylor went by. Okay. All right. So Margaret, you are up for your administrator.
Peg,
Or do we
Peg,
want to wait?
Did you skip off over general public comment?
Oh, I always skip over general public comment because I'm all out of whack. All right. So so it's only 2 people in the
Might as well
audience.
ask.
Miss Poland and Miss Terrian. If you have any questions, could you please raise your hand? Jazz hands. All right, we got nothing. We're moving on. All right. Hearing nothing. All right, Margaret, you are back to being on for your administrator report. Oh, here comes Scott.
Okay. So first of all, booster shots have been made available now to all Massachusetts residents 18 and older. Folks should go to mass.gov/vaccines to learn more or call 211. That's the state's public info hotline if assistance is needed. I can tell you, I have not had any trouble. I did not have any trouble scheduling my booster, and they seem to be pretty widely available. So folks certainly can.
I was showing mine off. I got mine 7 hours ago.
There you go. See, there you go.
I won't forget when I got mine. It was on Halloween.
God. Mhm.
So everyone 18 and older can get them now. All right, the next thing is CPA projects. So starting to see an increase in procurement related activity. I met last week with Julie Lee and Mark Adams from the Recreation Commission regarding recreation court upgrades. We had a discussion about how to approach the procurement and the project itself. And so we seem to have a starting point with that. Highway is going to help remove the existing fencing around the courts. And I think their interest is in phasing the project. So we're going to do different categories of work in different phases in order to try to keep the costs down. That's what they're interested in doing. So we'll be working on the asphalt procurement this winter, and then moving on to paints, poles, and things like that. So so we seem to have a pathway moving forward. We've got some homework to do first. And then the Historical Commission, they are moving ahead with their digitizing project for the archival records. This was a small $5,000 article that we had at town meeting. So they're getting ready to bring the records over to the archive company and have the records digitized. The Conservation Commission and their acquisition of the property and working with SVT is starting to move forward. I've communicated a number of times now with Krista Collins at SVT, Sudbury Valley Trustees, regarding pursuing grant funding. There is grant funding available. There's going to continue to be grant funding available. And so I've offered to facilitate communications between her and MVP She happens to know our MVP rep. So she's actually going to be putting together a statement of interest for the town for funding to go with the funding that town meeting appropriated from CPA funds. So more to come on that. Other procurements, the ALS study that was funded at the annual town meeting is ready to go out for quotes now. It was in Chief Clark's hands today. We're looking at sending that out and having the quote submission deadline set at December 16th. And we're also looking at completion of the work by April 11th, 2022. So they have an extensive study to do. And a lot of research to do, and hopefully we'll have a good indication by April of paths forward for the town with ALS service.
And so April of 22 means it would not be ready in time for any sort of article on this, the May 2022 a general meeting. Okay.
No, it's not going to be.
I don't think
ready.
there's a need to, so, but just, it will miss that deadline.
Oh yeah, absolutely. By a long shot. Yeah, it could take several. Well, I'd say it could take several months, but we're setting the timeline for them. So making sure they get it done in the time we set. The cable the meeting room hardwiring, AV hardwiring project that has been unfortunately delayed, and I have promised cable that I will have a scope of work to them by this Wednesday. So that will be up and running soon. Other things now. Let's see. Bullard House. I've shared emails with you regarding the stairwell in the Bullard House that is being taped off and secured. Fred Cummings has been in the loop. The Historical Commission is also going to be acting on a recommendation on the stairway, and the contractor that's currently working there on the sill project has been made aware and is going to be securing that stairwell when they're not on site. June is actually working on trying to schedule evening meetings of the Historical Commission moving forward. So
Nice.
more to come on that. And then finally, finally the FY22 state legislative earmark grant that was to go to 19 Carter. I've prepared a letter to go to the Executive Office of Health and Human Services, which indicates that the town would relinquish control of the earmark grant to be forwarded instead to 19 Carter for improvements to the Berlin Senior Center. So this would be something that we would relinquish all control. We would not receive money into the fund, into the town treasury, nor would we do any grants administration. And frankly, I'm satisfied with not having to do any of that work or hold money for another entity. So I ask you to just review that letter and I will be happy to get it out.
Any follow-up questions for Margaret?
I thought there was some progress on the BLM lease. Sorry, BLM.
Oh, yes.
BMS lease. Yeah.
Yes, we got that email this morning from Bob Conry, and I've shared that with the board. I just haven't had a chance to look it over yet. I did look at it, and it didn't appear that there were a lot of changes from what we put. So I have to pay more attention to it. I'm going to have to go back to it.
Totally fine. I mean, I don't know all the legal stuff, but reading it didn't sound like there was like none of them sounded like this is a horrible thing, we can't do it. It sounds like just improved wording that hopefully meets our needs.
Are we going to run it by our council also, or no?
Yes, I actually think that we should, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. I also would imagine that we're going to have to include some sketches and dimensions of property and things like that in there that aren't currently in. So yeah, we'll run that by town council.
I haven't gotten to the attachment, but I've been reading through the email chain.
Yeah.
Takes a
while.
while.
Well, I was happy once it was put back on their radar. They moved. They seem to have moved quickly, so that's good.
Right. Thank you, Susan. Probably. Huh?
Any other questions? I have a couple for Margaret, a couple follow-ups. So Scott, got any? Chris, got any?
I took care of my big list.
I think I'm good.
All right, so Riverbridge, Margaret, you need all of us, just me to come in and sign whatever document I'm assuming is on the big table? No?
All
Yes?
of you, and I'm gonna notify Dennis that your signatures all have to be notarized as well, so he'll be able to do that. So all of you need to come in and sign. I was just, as of earlier this afternoon, I was just waiting to hear back from Chris that he and Matt had reviewed the last couple of minor edits and they were okay with it. So as soon as we get the okay from them, we'll ask the board to come in and sign.
All right, so we don't need to do anything just yet then.
No, not just yet. Nope.
Hang tight, okay. All right, and then follow up from Chris last week where she had asked about the cannabis stuff. Because I
Oh,
noticed
I
that there
have-
was like a delay on fire marshal, the report.
Well, guess what? I thought about it today and then I immediately got distracted and went on to something else. So I will I will contact Gabe as I promised last time. I will contact him and see what's happening.
Okay, no worries. Not on fire, so it's not critical. There's a bunch of other stuff going on. so-
No, but I know the board would like to know and I'd like to know too.
Okay. All right, so moving down to old business. So Margaret, select board vote participation in the national opioid settlement.
Yeah, I think I've previously kind of given the board an outline on what this is. If the board does vote tonight to actually participate in the settlement, as I mentioned before, I registered the town, but you would have to vote to participate. 15% of the total abatement funds would be divided among the municipalities, the participating municipalities. Berlin's share would be, as of this point, would be 0.04% of those funds. But when you're looking at $66 million coming in, that could be, that could be 20 something thousand dollars. So it did note on the frequently asked question page of this on the AG's page that there's an anticipation that participating municipalities could actually see more. And the percentage allocations were based on available federal data on opioid use disorder, overdose deaths, and 10 years, 2006 to 2016, opioid shipments into Massachusetts by region and community. So Berlin's share is relatively small, but it still means something that we can help the state fight the opioid crisis.
Absolutely, and I mean,
This only requires Peg's signature as the chair if the board cares to authorize Peg to sign on the town's behalf.
So I move we participate and authorize Peg to sign.
Second,
Woohoo! Stone Eye.
Hawkins, aye.
Keith, aye. Well, you're so
Right.
excited about signing, or?
Woo! I get to sign something. Yay! So Margaret, let me know when you need me to wander on down.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for doing that. That's good. That's progress. We'll get it in.
Absolutely. And again, I mean, where Chief Galvin talked about it, I think Eric's talked about it, Chief Clark has talked about it. So you know what? Let's do something to help the folks.
And Victoria as well.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So moving down to new business. Margaret, do we have any notices of intent to appoint?
Not this week.
All right. Well, that was easy.
I don't know.
peasy.
I know it's hard to believe, but no, not this week. I'm happy to report.
That's not a bad thing. It's absolutely not a bad thing. All right, so we are now down to board questions, comments, liaison updates.
I got nothing.
Just that I am, hopefully, Margaret, I'm doing this right, but I am trying to do a little bit of research on a couple of topics. One being with the earthworks and like-kind soil, looking at merging those bylaws together, whether or not it is both practical and the real world impacts of in that bylaw limiting how much total soil people can bring into town in one project. And so I've been trying to ask some key folks out there, people who like sit on those committees right now, getting their sort of feedback, but I'm not asking for any direction. I am doing sort of research, but I keep thinking that if we just said, you can bring in, I'm making up this number, but like each project can only bring in 10 trucks a year, that might both limit the amount of truck traffic we get through this town, and some of these major projects that are just totally redoing the landscaping of this town would become less easy to do. And I think both of those would be worthwhile goals, provided it doesn't shut down the ability of stuff we might want to have happen. So I'm just exploring that right now. Hopefully I'm not distracting too many people from their day-to-day stuff. And then the other piece I am looking at, I've sent out much fewer emails on, but the brown barn on South Common has 2 vehicles in it. And if those vehicles had other homes with owners that are not the town of Berlin, there could be some actions we could take to on that particular barn. And so looking at both what the practicality is finding new homes for those vehicles and how people feel about that particular barn. I know I've talked enough to historical to know that they've not taken any vote one way or another about whether or not that barn has historical interest, but history aside, it's probably not the prettiest building on South Common, and potentially if that was not there, you could probably have a better parking area or a better entrance into South Common. And so they're just researching things I'm doing right now. Again, I'm not asking people, and so hopefully, Margaret, even when I'm asking people questions, they're not jumping and doing anything I'm asking. I'm trying to put disclaimers in all my emails.
No, it's totally fine. I think you're approaching this the right way. And I can report that the highway department has taken photos of the old sweeper that is in that barn for potentially listing that on Municipid after it's declared surplus. So I think the board should expect in the near future to have a couple of requests for surplus declarations for larger equipment, that and the 2002 loader.
Nice.
Will
Well,
be coming.
get Marty Miller down there, have him take some pretty pictures, and we'll get them up in the offices, the town offices, and around the town barn, and be good to go.
The post office, yeah.
That's right, the post office. All right. Anything else there, Mr. Hawkins?
No, that's the.
All right. Okay. I have three small ones. So Concom heads up, attended a meeting with them last week. They have a gentleman whose name is totally escaping me to start working on some of the trail maintenance for the various trails in town. So Concom met last Wednesday, which means they probably won't meet for a couple more weeks. So we may not see anything in front of us to approve that, but it's coming. So yay for them that they're finding some help to get the trails taken care of. Let's see. Over the weekend, I had the opportunity to assist at the food pantry and learned quite a bit. So, Friday is kind of like staging day. You get the bags together, you get the families together, you get all the non-perishable items together. Saturday is delivery day, or folks coming to drop off the day, or to pick up rather for the day. It's not, people might think the food pantry, easy peasy, you just stand there, people come in, they pick up stuff, off they go, yay, we do good things. 2 things that I learned. The volunteers, and I had the privilege of working with Val Muldoon and Mary McKelk and Jill Malika, hope I didn't kill your last name, this weekend. And Jill and I spent significant time in one of the rooms going through and looking at the donations that were brought in. So every food donation that is brought to the food pantry needs to be inspected. You're thinking inspected for what? Inspected for expiration date. Though I'm sure there's no ill will or ill intent and people think, oh, well, I don't need it, I'll just pass it along. You can't use food that's opened. Somebody brings in a box of cereal and tapes it shut because maybe they didn't like it. Can't use it. Frosting, you got to open up all the covers, as simple as that sounds, to make sure that no one opened it and tried it and went and dropped it off. Or expiration dates. I had mentioned to a friend of mine that I was going to help out the food pantry. She shows up at my house 3 days later, giant bags of food. I bring them all down. I see Val turning them around going, I'm like, Val, these were just bought. And she turned it back around and went, and it's the Geico commercial, expired. So I know that I always look at, milk, coffee creamer, butter, things like that. It never dawned on me to look at expiration dates on everything. So that is one thing that they do that I don't think that they get credit for. One other item that they do is the food that expires within the next month that they know they can't use. Or if someone brings in, like the giant container of oats that probably the 4 of us, if we ate it morning, noon, and night, would still not be able to get through it. They take those and they bring them up to the vet center in Worcester, which feeds hundreds of men and women vets and homelessness in Worcester. So it's not the food pantry's charged to do that, but they're also paying it forward. So I just want to, send a giant shout out to Val and Mary and Jill and all the other volunteers that I haven't had the privilege of working with yet, but hope to, for everything that they do. And I know that we're looking at space, and Margaret, I don't know if it's something magical you could pull out of your hat. And, one of the items on my wish list is to find an area big enough for our food pantry, because you've got a spot here where the food is kept. And then on the other side of the wall, that's where they put some of the bags. And then under that table is where they put the stuff for the veterans. And then you go down the hall and around the corner, and there's the bags for next week. And then you got to go across the hall into a shared space with fire and police and Boy Scouts for some more food, and then turn the hall and go back down to Council on Aging where there's another spot. So it would be, again, wish list item. I don't know how we could do it, if we could do it. Just if there was one spot, that people could get to for the food pantry. But the folks that I met over the weekend that we dropped off, more than thankful. I know it warmed my heart, for that. So again, you do great things, food pantry, for the town of Berlin. So, thank you. I appreciate everything that you do.
They certainly do.
They do. They're volunteers and they work super duper hard. And, I got like a smidge view of that over the weekend, but I know that I plan on going back as well. So, those who donate money, those who donate time, those who donate food, thank you for everything that you do. And then the last one, Margaret, you had kind of jiggered a thought when you had sent us around the document for the 1870. And I know that I keep them all in a binder, or in a folder rather, on my emails. And I think that you had mentioned a while ago that you would love to have gigantic, binder of policies that you could just go and find stuff. In progress, not in progress, Scott and Chris don't mind anything that I can do to help.
I had asked Mary to get on that, and I don't know that she's been able to get on that yet. I have always liked to have a binder of policies at my fingertips, not just a binder of policies, but an indexed binder, so that if we're on a subject, we can easily look there and find out what the rule is. No, we don't create policies just for the sake of creating policies. We want to create policies to try to adhere to them.
Correct.
So yeah, I know that's something that I completely agree with. I would appreciate something like that. I know Scott, you're into the the digital format, and you might not use a paper binder like some of us old folks.
I would use a paper binder.
You would use one. Okay.
Wow. All right. That sounds like Scott just volunteering.
We've got we've got
so,
scores of policies now.
Well, that's just it, so Margaret, I'll leave it to you and Scott and Chris and figure out, I'm offering help if you need it, if we want to push this along. I don't know where Mary is in it. Obviously I would just need binders and 3-hole punchy things and index things. You can tell I'm technically savvy. Things.
Margaret, is there a certain way that those kind of policy books are indexed?
Well, I like to put a table of contents right in the front, and do, there's a licensing category, and then there might be another, we might have recreational marijuana. We only have one policy on those right now, but
so there's subjects.
Some sort of order so that, by subject.
Okay, I don't know. Some policy books are by, policy BGF, A.
Yeah.
Alphabetical wouldn't help us, because if we're on a certain topic, we want to go right to that topic.
But like section B is licensing, and so on. I just didn't know if there was a certain way that municipalities indexed their policies.
Personal
My answer
preference,
is going to be
probably.
however it works best.
Okay.
Right.
So how does the board feel if I could ask Mary to order binders and index tabs? Would you like binders put together?
We could even do ourselves. We could even, as long as the policies were perhaps run off for us.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And if you had an index the way you wanted it, or like
Oh,
an
Scott,
index
I
together.
can see Scott's wheels starting to turn already. Mhm.
Well, just, I don't mind assembling it. I'm glad to help out. If they all need to be 3-hole punched and put in the right order, that by the time someone does all the photocopying and the 3-hole punching, if all I'm doing is putting into a binder, I don't think I'm adding that much value. I gladly will do it. Because I was thinking, how do I go from digital to paper? I have a printer at home. I have no problem spending the printer stuff, but then I don't know if I have a good 3-hole punch. So
Yeah.
Well, unless you get the kind of paper that's got punches in it already or something. I don't know.
The big thing is
Yeah.
going to be making copies of the
Yep.
policies that we have in electronic format. So we'll figure out a way to get those done. We'll get some binders, we'll get some index tabs, and each board member could set up their
Take
policy
a-
binder however it's easiest for them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so
Okay.
Margaret, I mean, the intent is not obviously to, offload this onto you of, hey, tell us what you want to do. It's, kind of like, I know it's come up a few times. I know
Yep.
that as a board, we've updated a gigantic amount of policies, that are out there. I think we'll probably all be in shock at the number of how many we have done. And actually that whittles it down to how much do we have left and what's the priority of them? What's
Mhm.
going to bubble up to the top. So,
And this is also a good way to update the policies too, because you take, as we update a policy, then you get that new piece and you
Yep.
put it in your book in place of the old one.
yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
And you
So,
never have to worry about which one is the current one. You'll
Well,
know.
and that's the right. And that's the problem is I keep them on my desktop. I want to make sure that, I've got the right one. And I suppose I should probably just bookmark the link to wherever they all live instead of me, putting them together in Peg's World. So, but no, happy to, I know it's not urgent. It's not critical, not on fire. But if it's
Which one of Margaret's goals shall we take off her list then?
She has several goals related to updating policies. So
Yep.
maybe
yep,
this
so
helps her
that-
complete some of them.
Yep. So that would clear out a bunch of them. Yeah, Margaret, you may have these done and not realize it. So, but yeah, this is something that can come up every so often, or we can tackle. As I said, I know that there's a bunch more critical things, but I just want to put it out there that whatever you need, we're here for. All right. So I think that's it. We are now moving into the need for an executive session. Here, I'll bring this over so I can read it. The board will enter into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiation with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, police chief, contract. And we will adjourn our meeting from the executive session. So, need a vote. Stone eye.
Hawkins, aye.
Keith, I.
There you go. Thank you. Oh, I'm choking on my tea. So, thank you and happy Thanksgiving. I know there's only June left,